The studio lights were glaring, and the cameras rolled with unflinching focus. Karoline Leavitt leaned forward, her voice sharp and filled with a calculated righteousness. "We helped you," she declared, her words hanging in the air like a verdict. For a moment, the audience fell silent. The implication was clear. The West had lifted Africa, shaped its path, and carried it forward. But across from her sat Captain Ibrahim Traoré, his uniform crisp, his eyes steady with the fire of conviction. He let the silence grow heavier before responding. His voice was calm, yet it thundered through the room. "Chains aren't help." The audience gasped. The sentence cut through centuries of narratives like a blade through rope. It was not merely a rebuttal, it was a declaration. A reminder that what had been called help was, in truth, domination. The clash of words echoed with history. Behind Traoré's defiance was a story written in scars. Nations stripped of their gold, people forced into labor, languages erased, and traditions buried. To Karoline, help meant roads, schools, and institutions that had been left behind. But to Traoré, those same monuments were built on the backs of stolen lives. The roads were not built for Africans. They were built to move stolen resources faster to foreign ports. The schools often taught children to despise their own culture and worship another. Every syllable of "chains aren't help" carried the memories of ancestors whose wrists bled under iron shackles. It reminded the world that behind every claim of generosity lay an ocean of exploitation. The studio fell into an uneasy silence. Some audience members nodded, clapping quietly, their faces lit with pride that someone had finally said what so many had felt. Others fidgeted, uncomfortable, unwilling to let go of the myths they had grown up believing. Karoline tried to reclaim her ground, straightening her shoulders. "Without us, you'd still be in the dark," she said, her tone colder now. Traoré tilted his head slightly, as though studying her words under a microscope. His reply came slowly, deliberately. "The dark you speak of is the shadow you cast." The room erupted, some gasps, some cheers, some furious whispers. The tension had grown into something electric, almost cinematic. For decades, Western leaders had framed their involvement in Africa as a gift, a benevolent act. Textbooks, media, and speeches all repeated the same story. Africa was saved, developed, and modernized because of them. But Traoré's generation was rewriting that script. They spoke of stolen sovereignty, broken economies, and the resilience of a people who survived every attempt to erase them. To them, Africa was not a continent rescued, it was a continent robbed, then blamed for its wounds. Karoline's insistence on help revealed the gap between these narratives. One side clung to a colonial lens. The other was smashing it to pieces. Even as the debate continued, clips of the exchange flooded. Social media. The phrase "chains aren't help" began trending across platforms within minutes. Hashtags like #AfricaRising and #ChainsAren'tHelp lit up timelines. Young Africans posted videos of themselves repeating Traoré's words, their voices strong and unshaken. Diaspora communities joined in, writing essays, sharing artwork, and even creating music samples around the line. Meanwhile, critics in the West fumed. Some claimed Traoré was being ungrateful. Others said he was rewriting history unfairly. But none could deny the impact. His words had cracked open a conversation that could not be closed again. "I am not here to rewrite history," Traoré said, his voice steady, but to tell the truth. "Help is when you give without chains. Help is when you leave dignity intact. What you gave was never free. It was always at the cost of our blood, our land, our future." His words resonated not only as political rhetoric but as a moral lesson. He was not speaking just to Karoline Leavitt. He was speaking to the millions watching, to every young African who had been told they owed gratitude for their chains. And in that moment, he was not just a captain. He was a voice for a continent demanding to stand on its own terms. Karoline's face tightened, her tone now openly hostile. "You wouldn't even have the seat you're sitting on without us. Don't forget who built the foundation." Traoré leaned forward, his eyes sharp, unwavering. "And don't forget who paid for that foundation, with sweat, with tears, with lives you cannot count. If the foundation is built on our suffering, then it is not yours to claim." The studio audience roared, some in outrage, others in thunderous applause. The debate had transcended politics. It had become a battle over the ownership of history itself. By the end of the debate, no one cared about the original topic that had brought them together. The only thing people remembered was that one line, "Chains aren't help." It echoed in classrooms, in community meetings, in online debates. It became a rallying cry, a reminder that sovereignty is not given, it is taken back. As the cameras turned off, Traoré stood, adjusted his uniform, and walked out without another word. His silence was louder than applause. His presence had already rewritten the moment. For many watching, it was clear the age of excuses was over. A new chapter of African sovereignty was not waiting to be granted. It was being written in real time by leaders unafraid to tell the world, chains aren't help.